Welcome to the streets of Po. We're ready for the opening race in the Formula Master Championship for 2009, and in sweltering conditions now. Looks like it's going to be a hot, dry race, and that's good news for the cars that have so far struggled a little bit to stay away from the constraining barriers around the streets here of this fabulous circuit. Well, looking at the way they line up this morning, Fabio Lima, last year's championship runner-up, has started as he means to go on. Clearly the Swiss on pole position ahead of the young Czech Josef Kral, who's changed teams to last year's winning championship team JD Motorsport. Vladimir Arabadjev and newcomer from Norway Paul Verhaug are on row 2 ahead of Jonathan Kennard and Alessandro Kuskin. Peter Reiterer and Alessandro Rossi of the USA ahead of one of last year's winners on the streets here, Sergei Afanasiev, who had problems, as a number of them did, in qualifying. The season about to get underway, the revs rise, the lights go off and away they go. Good start from the pole man, lightning start from Josef Kral alongside. The red and white car will sweep around the outside of the first corner, Court des Tribunes, and down into the first corner, the Lagarde, and he's gone off on the outside. So Kral has gone off and he will be right down the field. It is Fabio Lima that leads, Vladimir Arabadjev right behind him as they climb up the Boulevard des Pyrénées. And Paul Verhaug, the white and blue car, 4th place for Jonathan Kennard. The Cram car goes around the outside of the field. So Fabio Lima already leading away from the Lycée hairpin. Side by side as the field struggles to sort itself out, and no sign of the red and white of Josef Kral. Got himself onto the dirt on the outside at the first corner and drifted away through the famous Virage Foch in front of the statue on the right-hand side of French's World War I Commander-in-Chief, Marshal Foch. And they drop down the hill immediately, accelerating fast through here. Right at the back of the field is Earl Bamber, trying to pick up places away from the start. Number 8 machine, one of the Irish project cars. That is Simon Trummer. But look at the lead that Fabio Lima has got already, streaking across the line. And the margin over a second on the first lap. Arabadjev in 2nd place. In fact, it is 2.29 seconds, so 2.3 seconds in 1 lap. Fabio Lima racing away from Vladimir Arabadjev. Paul Verhaug, the number 7 car, in 3rd. Kennard ahead of this battle. 47 is Kuskin, 9 Reiterer, the American Rossi behind them. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Well, in fact, from Jonathan Kennard back, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all in a long queue. Kennard in the white and green of the John Village team, JVA. You can see further back his teammate Duncan Tappy in 14th position, Earl Bamber in 16th, so he's picked up a couple of places. Got ahead of Trummer, and of course Kral has dropped out as well. So Simon Trummer in the Irish project car having problems, but none such for our race leader, Fabio Lima. Now, this is a long race, as you can see, 37 laps, and Josef Kral very nearly got the best of the starts. Away they go. Kral on what is the cleaner racing line side of the track, around the outside in the first corner, then up to the braking area for the sharp 2nd gear right-hander, on the dirt, over the camber as well, over the crown of the road. The barriers just hoovered him up. Bang. He's not the first to go in there this weekend, and absolutely certain he will not be the last. Fabio Lima, the race leader, now 4.3 seconds in front. So he's really just piling on the pressure on his rivals, miles in front at the moment. And Lima leaving Arabadjev clear behind him. Well, one of the most experienced junior single-seater team bosses in the business is Andreas Jenser, the Swiss that runs Jenser Motorsport, and he's often stated that he enjoys being at this kind of level much more than anything else. He's got no intention or no inclination to try and run a GP2 team or anything else. He likes junior single-seater categories, spent a lot of time racing in Formula Renault, and off into the barriers goes the Irish project car of Patrick Reiterer. Well, here's the danger, hits the curb, it flicks him back out. He just bit too much of the curb. Fabio Lima continues to rattle off the fastest laps. Everybody else lapping in 1:13 point something, 1:14 point something. Lima consistently in the mid 1 minute 12 second laps. Last lap 1:12.6 for Lima. For Vladimir Arabadchev that we're looking at now, 1:13.0. So again, another 0.4 of a second. And the first sector, Fabio Lima has just set the fastest first sector time of the race on this lap as well. So he is continuing to ease away from his rivals. Jonathan Kennard coming up to 24 years of age in a month or so's time, from Tunbridge Wells in England. And raced in Formula Palmer Audi. His first single-seater appearance was Formula Palmer Audi in 2003. And he's done 3 years in British Formula 3 in the national class and in the main championship class as well. Raced at Macau, raced at Zandvoort. Oh, and who's that in the barriers? That is Dennis Rotera. Yes, it is. Oh, no. No, that is Snooks. So that's the other AR Masters car. The AR Motorsport, long-serving Dutch team, been going, well, better part of 20 years. Can remember them from when the Euro Series was run for Opel Lotus cars, one of the successful front-running teams then. And returning to the international arena after many years racing in national championships in the Netherlands. And always good to see new teams coming in. Well, yellow flags out on the track at the moment, obviously with that car sitting by the side of the road. And you can see them here as the drivers come all the way through Park Beaumont and up towards Foch. Rattling through here. Rossi and Schlegelmilch behind Kennard and Kuskin. So these battles, 4th and 5th there, and 6th and 7th. And again, pitting young and relatively inexperienced drivers against drivers with a bit more single-seater experience. Harold Schlegelmilch behind Alexander Rossi. The back of these four, well, in the last 6 months since he raced in, or 7 months since he raced in Formula Master. He's also raced in GP2 Asia and in World Series by Renault. So much more powerful cars, but still kept himself sharp. And you can see that with Casper Anderson and Earl Bamber stuck in 13th and 14th, overtaking pretty tricky here. Now, the format that it usually follows, particularly on street circuits, is that race 1, drivers are just a little tentative perhaps, but in race 2, when they know there's no more racing waiting for them, and when they've just got their heads around the track a little better, they tend to be a bit more adventurous with the overtaking. That may well be the case here as well. So Jonathan Kennard, 4th place. And you can see Schlegelmilch in that turquoise and blue Cram competition car really starting to harass Rossi in front of him. Ooh, and having a look as they come down over the start-finish line. He's still very well placed. Alexander Rossi needs to hold the inside line. Stay over to the right-hand side as much as he can into the braking area. And Schlegelmilch certainly showing his intentions quite clearly. Good effort by the Latvian driver. I have to say, don't often see them getting alongside each other before they come onto the start-finish straight, but on that run down the hill, you really can get a great slingshot run on the car in front. So brave stuff, and well handled by both drivers as well. And Schlegelmilch, they are really producing a great show here, which is just as well because the lead trio are miles from each other. Lima now 8.4 seconds up, and Arabadchev similarly 6.5 seconds in front of 3rd placed Paul Farhaug. But again, looking to the inside, I think that Schlegelmilch is going to have to stick on the inside there. because Rossi has got the outside line very well covered. Here he comes up the hill, and Rossi again sticking to the curbs. And if he doesn't leave a car's width on the inside, that means that the Latvian has to go around the outside, and that just makes it too easy for Rossi to defend and then chop his nose off at the exit. And again, Afanasiev right with them, and again Polisi right with the Russian as well. When I say come out of the Lycée, then these guys streak away, really leave them for dead. But you can see Rossi's car is starting to become even more tail happy now, whether that is driver driven or whether it is just drifting away from him. Look at Schlegelmilch's car, looks much more planted. Rossi's is flicking the tail around left, right and centre. Now he may be entirely happy with the way that it's handling. He's just drilling the throttle ever earlier, but is he getting any reward from it? And is Schlegelmilch going to end up with a better car and better tyres? Another 20 laps of this, don't forget, so the time is certainly on Schlegelmilch's side. He can't afford to do anything too rash around the streets of Po. But this is a good run now. He closes up under the braking area, but it's just not too wide, because if you go over the crown of the road, you shoot straight off on the outside. Rossi still driving on the mirrors as much as anything else, and that is starting to slow him down a little. He's really got to concentrate on trying to charge away and leave Schlegelmilch on the curbs and dealing with Afanasiev. But Schlegelmilch has got great traction. It's really noticeable there out of the Lycée hairpin. Look, Afanasiev was right behind him, and now he's just completely left him behind, stone cold, sitting in the road behind him. Now that is Afanasiev's real plus point here. You can see Rossi's car starting to struggle a little for grip. We're getting to the halfway point. This is lap 18 of 37. And surely Schlegelmilch's car is going to be consistently even better than Rossi's as Rossi starts to work his rear tyres a lot.
Sunday sees a double bill of the best.
In the end, he's going to look back at it and think, well, that may not have been the world's most exciting race, and it almost looks like he's just out on his own for a drive in practice, but he is still lapping quicker than anybody else. Fastest lap of the race is his, and pretty much the fastest lap on any lap in the race he has had as well. Vladimir Arabadjev in second, Paul Farhaug in third, have got nothing to offer him. Arabadjev again nearly half a second slower on the last lap, and Farhaug another couple of tenths slower than that. So first to second is 10.3, first to third 16.5, but this battle 6th to 7th, nothing. Again, the Latvian pulls out very early, and again he's ahead at the line. No, he's not. Rossi just ahead by 0.02 of a second then. But again, Alexander Rossi defends his position. I tell you what, they'll know they've been in a battle here. Change a little behind them. Marcello Polisi has got in front of Frankie Provenzano. Two of them were teammates and rivals over the last couple of seasons in the International Formula Master campaign. And that means Provenzano's moved up to 8th position now. Not bad, considering he qualified on row 7 of the grid in 13th spot. So just to run a little further down the order as we watch this battle, I'll try and keep one eye on the timing screen and one eye on the cars. Lima leads from Arabadjev and Farhaug. Kennard in 4th, half a second still ahead of Kuskin. Then this battle, 6th and 7th, Rossi and Schlegelmilch. Provenzano now up to 8th. Polisi in 9th. Dennis Ratera 10th ahead of Duncan Tappy, Casper Anderson, Earl Bamber, Simon Trummer in 14th. The last car still running. So here is the battle then for 4th place. Jonathan Kennard ahead of the number 47 car of Alessandro Kuskin. Oh my goodness, now he's on the inside for the first time. But Schlegelmilch rather just didn't have the momentum, nearly ran into the end of the pit wall, and that perhaps just got the, well, several muscles twitching, but the right foot twitching back off the throttle. Look at this. hits the marker cone on the exit. Rossi certainly making sure that there was not enough room there. And Rossi didn't chop him, he just didn't allow him to come through on the inside. But Schlegelmilch needs to do exactly that. He cannot go around the outside of Rossi into the second corner and overtake him. He needs to be on the inside. Well, finally, Schlegelmilch got enough of a run coming down the hill onto the start-finish straight to try it that time, but he is going to have to be a little earlier the next time. And again, Rossi's car snaking wickedly as it comes through Foch and out down the hill. Sweeping through turn 9 and then Virage Buisson all the way down the hill. Just in front of that battle, and now some, 6 or 7 seconds in front of that battle, Jonathan Kennard and Alessandro Kuskin. Alessandro, not the most Russian name I've ever heard as well. Here we go, once more, Rossi on the inside, but look, closing in behind. That is Marcello Polisi. Polisi will be part of this battle in a minute, and that means that Schlegelmilch has now spent 20 laps trying to get by Rossi fruitlessly, and he will now suddenly have the Trident car right behind. Again, looks outside, but he's going to have to stop doing that because he will find in a lap or so that he'll have Polisi on the inside and he will not be able to get back into line. So for Schlegelmilch, his free rein to attack has now vanished. And it looks as though Polisi behind, Provenzano behind him rather, has got just as much traction as he has. Oh! Now who's that looping around? Well, that's the Iris Project car in the barriers of Simon Trummer. We saw him in trouble earlier on. I think that was Earl Bamber we saw spinning as well. Bamber, race winner in Imola, but at the back of the field. And again at the Lycée hairpin. And the turquoise and blue car, Harold Schlegelmilch, now in the middle of a sandwich. Still attacking Alessandro Rossi. But right behind him is Frankie Provenzano. Oh, and again around the outside, Provenzano nothing like as quick down the hill. Schlegelmilch has to try something different here. Oh, huge snaking lockup for Rossi under braking. Rossi got it under control, but once more Schlegelmilch is all over him. Look again, just over the brow of the road. Schlegelmilch, not enough momentum, but it holds him up, and that means Provenzano is right with him. Again, there's 3 there, and Polisi not far away either. So suddenly Schlegelmilch really with a lot of pressure from behind. Rossi again checks the mirrors as he comes 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th gear up through past the casino into Parc Beaumont. Yellow flags are out, so that's where Simon Trummer went off on the exit, just there. Dropping down through Foch. And the camera shots here, you don't really see very much of Virage Foch, but for the drivers it's a real adventure every lap. Rattling from camber to camber, bouncing from curb to crown of the road to curb on the other side, and the cars spend a lot of time with relatively few wheels in contact with the road there, which is why it goes so dramatically wrong when they're a millimetre or 2 offline. Again across the line, and again Schlegelmilch looking to the inside, and Rossi doing everything exactly right and by the book, racing clean but racing hard. Making sure that he's not in the middle of the road, that there's any room for Schlegelmilch. And here up the hill, making sure there's nothing between Schlegelmilch and the barriers to his left. So Schlegelmilch again forced to go around the outside, and again Provenzano and Polisi right with him and closing in. Rotera and Duncan Tappy as well, and this time the inside, he's made it. And the Cram Motorsport team, Marcello Rossi and his boys, delighted. 22, 23, 24 laps of hard work, and finally a mistake from Alessandro Rossi. Schlegelmilch up the inside for 6th place. So a lap behind now, but in 10th place. Here is again Jonathan Kennard. Alessandro Kuskin right behind him. And this battle about as close as it could be. Kennard making sure he's fast where he needs to be. and not overworking the tyres. Of course, he's got no idea of how they'll live, how they'll survive, how they'll go off. So he's discovering all of that for the first time. Exactly the same is true, of course, though, for his rival, Alessandro Kuskin, has never raced these cars either. So these two, differing levels of experience between them, but both of them definitely Formula Master rookies. Past the yellow flags, which means no overtaking, also means no pulling alongside up the Boulevard des Pyrénées. So until you get the green flag here at Pont Oscar, that effectively rules out one chance to go around the outside, which then means they're racing up to the Lycée. Again, down into first gear, chuntering through the corner, and then accelerating up as smoothly as you can all the way up the hill, sweeping around this long left-hander Casino, and into the long 180-degree right at the highest point of the track, top of Parc Beaumont, dropping down through Virage Foch, over the curbs, riding a lot of curb behind is Alessandro Kuskin. 180-degree corner, dropping down the hill to Virage Buisson, and then sweeping left, right, left again through this little traffic island, and on the run down now to Virage de la Gare. This is accelerating hard all the way. They'll cross the line doing over 190 kilometers an hour, getting on for 200 Ks, and they'll still be doing 185 through the first corner, down here into about 70 kilometers an hour, second gear, Virage de la Gare, and then accelerating once more up the hill. It's a really fast and furious lap here at Pau. Just 2.27 kilometers long, so just under 2.3 Ks, and very, very busy track. Street circuits, of course, have that in their nature. Lots of gear shifts, lots of cornering, lots of braking, lots of acceleration. And the nature of the track, it's not flat, lots of gradient changes as well. From the crown of the road, over the curbs, using the street furniture as your braking markers. All of that just becomes second nature, and the rhythm that you require to race on a track like this, perhaps, is more demanding than in any other kind of environment. Well, here's Duncan Tapping, the other John Village car, and there is the race leader. Tappy's last lap, 1:14.5. Leader, 1:15.1, so Lima has definitely eased off a little. Lima, for the first time, not in the 13s or 14s. And the battle is now on for second place. I don't think that Paul Farhaug is going to catch Vladimir Arabadjev. He's still 3.8 seconds behind. Arabadjev has responded to the challenge for second. And so fourth place it is, Jonathan Kennard and Alessandro Kuskin, that is keeping us entertained. Kennard keeps himself in the middle of the road. He knows that unless Kuskin gets alongside, there's no chance. And Kuskin, again, drilling the throttle hard out of Pont Oscar. Car steps out sideways. Loses him a little bit of ground. And again, out of the Lycée there, you saw the tail step out. Just loses him a little bit of ground. Kennard making sure that his traction off the corners is the best. Lima, our race leader, on lap 36, now on lap 37, completed lap 36, so it's the last lap for the race leader, and only 9 other drivers on the lead lap. That's quite an astonishing turn of speed from Fabio Lima. 16 seconds ahead of the battle for second, and the battle for fourth place here is, well, nearly a minute behind. They start their last lap now. And they are, in fact, well, over 30 seconds behind. And Kennard takes his eye off the ball just for a moment. And Kuskin is through. No way to overtake up the hill. And Kennard made the fatal error of relaxing his guard on that run down to the Gare. Fabio Lima then will drop down out of corner 13 for the final time, heading towards the checkered flag, and an utterly crushing victory. Lima almost in a different class of his own, as if he's got a turbocharged version of the Formula Master car. He wins comfortably, and it's going to be a long wait before we get Vladimir Arabadjev in second place. And there is Andreas Jenser with the moustache. Arabadjev in second place also puts a lap on Alexander Rossi. And third place, the rookie, his first ever race in the series, Paul Verhaug. So it's a 1-3 for Jense. So just to show you once more, Fabio Lima crossing the line, and the celebration from Andreas Jense, his team boss. The Iris Project guys there on the pit wall as well. Didn't have an awful lot of success in the race, but Fabio Lima, what a dominant performance from him. Arabachev in second place, the man from Bulgaria, returns to the series with JD Motorsport. So we've got two second-year drivers on the top two steps of the podium. Dominant force has been Fabio Lima, but again, we've got some very entertaining rookies. Alessandro Kuskin from Russia, rookie in fourth. Jonathan Kennard, rookie in fifth. Duncan Tappy, rookie in ninth place. And Alexander Rossi, well, what a race he gave as well, first time out in the cars. I think he could be very entertaining to watch as well. Well, race one then will be reflected in the championship. Top 8 score points here. So Lima leads by 2 from Arabachev. 2 further back is Verhaug. And most impressive performance indeed from Fabio Lima. Can he turn it into 2 out of 2 tomorrow? It seems highly likely. Bye for now.